We're back with another weekly fitness fun and fuckery.
See, I like to be taken for dinner and drinks first before you slip your hands into my knicker. Call me old-fashioned, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Boom. All right, here we go. And I apologize for being 7 minutes late. Rather annoying, but I'm trying out a new microphone system. I have to be honest, I've got a little microphone here and it wasn't connecting. I had trouble with Bluetooth. So if you're on, whether you're on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, let me know where you are. Drop your name and where you're from in the comments and we'll get this going. Today, we're going to talk about the exact thing that you need, or the most important things that you need for losing body fat, fat loss. Shiv, could you please let me know if you can hear me okay? As I said, it's a brand new mic and I'm hoping that you can hear this okay. Okay, awesome. Brilliant, thank you. So we've got a couple of people coming in. I once again apologize for being a bit late. I should have prepared this a little earlier, but the topic we're going to talk about today is the most important things that you need for fat loss. Now, I put up a poll on LinkedIn and there's actually got one more day left. So it's been running for 6 days. And I said, what I would know, I know what I think about in terms of burning body fat and losing fat loss, losing fat, the most important things, but I want to know what you guys think. What you think is the most important thing when it comes to fat loss. So I put the poll up and I'm just going to go and grab the poll. I took a screenshot of the poll. So 1 second, let me just find it. Okay. Okay, so the actual screenshot, the actual poll says, what's the most important factor when it comes to fat loss or losing weight? And I gave 4 categories to pick from: exercise, diet and nutrition, sleep, and consistency. As I said, there's 18 hours left, but currently there's been 4,834 votes, which is a hell of a lot of votes. One of my most popular polls. It's been viewed 114,000 times. And the results are probably going to be the same. Okay, at the moment, exercise is 14%. 14% of those people thought that exercise was the most important thing when it comes to fat loss. Diet and nutrition was at 45%. So that's the most popular. Sleep was 5%, and consistency is at 35%. So we'll hold that there. Okay. So who have we got coming in on the chat? Let's have a look. Awesome. We've got Nelson, we've got Jared, we've got is it Jean or is it Jean? We've got Musa and Shiv. Okay, cool. So what do you guys think? Anyone that's coming in live, what do you think? Is it exercise? Is it nutrition? Is it sleep? Or is it consistency? Now, it's a bit of an ambiguous question, really, because they're all important in terms of fat loss. They're all going to help with the equation. So first of all, let's look at exercise. We absolutely know that, exercise, we need exercise to burn calories, build muscle, keep us fit, keep us healthy. So it's absolutely an important piece of the puzzle, for sure. Okay. We know that sleep's very important. If you're not sleeping well, you're not going to be optimizing your fat burning, because we burn body fat when we're sleeping. You're not going to be optimizing that. You're not going to have the energy. You're not going to have the mental acuity. You possibly could overeat if your sleep's poor. So it's definitely a factor. Okay. So Dev is saying all of them. Definitely. Yeah, they're absolutely. They all play a part. Sahar is saying exercise. Is it food? Is it the nutrition? We know that that's absolutely important. If you eat too many calories, you're going to put weight on. If you are in a calorie deficit, you're going to burn body fat. So we've got choice of exercise, nutrition, sleep, and the fourth one is consistency. Now, we all know that whatever you do, if you're not doing it consistently, it's not going to help you get results. But if we had to pick one, I'm afraid the 45% were correct. 45% of nearly 5,000 were absolutely correct. The food and nutrition is ultimately going to determine your fat loss. And let me break it down. So the only way that you will burn body fat is by being in what we call a calorie deficit. And a calorie deficit is where the food that you take in, the food and drink you take in, calories in against the calories out. And that's your metabolism, the exercise that you do every day, and also the NEAT, the non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And that's just the things you do when you're not exercising, like walking the dog or playing in the garden with the kids, or incidental. That's your metabolism. So it's calories in versus calories out. Now, we want the calories out to exceed the calories in. And that's the only way that you're going to burn body fat. That's what we call a calorie deficit. The opposite of that is a calorie surplus. When it's kind of balanced, that's maintenance. That's when you don't lose weight or gain weight. Okay. So why is nutrition the most important thing? Why do I believe it's the most important thing? Or why it is the most important thing? Although all of those things help, absolutely do. There's no doubt. You need to be consistent. You need to sleep well. You need to exercise. But here's the thing. You could, and I'm not suggesting that you do this, you could be getting absolutely no sleep whatsoever. Very, very poor sleep. You could be an insomniac. Okay? You could exercise every day, or exercise not at all, no exercise at all. You could sleep badly. You could be incredibly inconsistent with everything. Not go to the gym, not sleep, not do anything. But if you're burning more calories than you're taking in, you're still going to lose body fat. Now, is it the optimal way? Of course it's not. Is it healthy? Absolutely not. But it really simply is an equation. So ultimately, your losing body fat is going to be determined by the food that you put in your mouth. Okay? Who have we got on the chat? Okay, anyone else coming in live? Saha, I'm doing exercise every day. So hopefully that's made sense. It really doesn't matter what you do. So it's a bit of a trick question, really. You could say, well, the answer depends on how you look at it. It's really the context. It's your perception. Absolutely. Anyone that says that exercise is important, they're absolutely right. If someone said that sleep's important, they're absolutely right. Consistency. But you can be as inconsistent as anything. Get terrible sleep, not go to the gym, not do any exercise, lay on the sofa all day long and not burn any calories. But if you're in a calorie deficit, one way or another, you're still going to burn body fat. Okay, so it was really kind of like a trick question. I'm hoping to a few people pop on and we can answer a few more questions in and around that. It really is that simple. But it was quite a good poll. I was quite chuffed that there was 4,834 votes at the moment. 14% exercise, diet and nutrition was 45%, sleep was 5%, consistency 35%. So it is kind of a loaded question, really. They're all important, but you could be inconsistent with everything, sleep badly, not even exercise, and you're still going to burn body fat if you're in a calorie deficit. Now, I talk about calorie deficit all the time. The mechanics of losing body fat are very, very simple. You get into that calorie deficit, so you're controlling your food, you exercise. We ideally want to put those two together, but it's the psychological aspect of fat loss or burning body fat is what most people struggle with. And that comes down to, being able to stick to the calories, maybe logging the calories and having that consistency. And what do you do when you fall off, when things go bad, when you have a bad weekend or you think you've blown your diet? So that's what I tend to focus on in the coaching. The skill set of losing body fat is very, very simple. I can teach most people that in half an hour, in an hour. Skill set is very easy. The mindset, that's the tricky part. The mindset is tapping into those psychological aspects like self-esteem, self-image, body image, confidence, all these different things. That's the tricky part. Sticking to it. Like, the plan is control your calories, probably reduce carbohydrates for most people, and probably increase protein for a lot of people, but not always. Control the calories, move your body. That's fat loss. In that calorie deficit, you're going to burn body fat. But why do most people not achieve the goals that they want to achieve? And that's because they need to stick to it. They need to do something consistently, every day for a period of 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks. So hopefully that makes sense. But interesting poll. Polls are really good at the moment, by the way. If anyone's on LinkedIn, which I'm actually doing this live to main, I know it's going to Facebook and groups and YouTube. But if you're on LinkedIn and you're doing any type of posting at the moment, you should look at doing polls. They're really, really very popular at the moment. And again, a lot of activity, a lot of showing up in the feeds to a lot of people. I think it's a really good way to get a bit of market research, because this is a great way for me to do this post. I now know what thousands and thousands of people think. So, as I said, it was a bit of a trick question. Anyone got any more questions around fat loss and the most important things? So we're looking at food, nutrition, one and the same thing, sleep, consistency, and exercise. If anyone's got any questions around that, more than happy to answer them now. Nelson's on. I'm trying to, let's have a look. Nelson, French. Shall I try and pronounce that? C'est une richesse, la vie. It's something of life. That's as good as I can get. Sorry, my French isn't very good. Nelson, please tell me what you said in English. Be interesting to know. Can you just let me know if you can hear me okay, guys? I said a brand new microphone here on my lapel or my collar. And I was a few minutes late getting onto the live because I was setting up the microphone, so hopefully it's working okay. Please let me know. Annette, exercise, is that just moving more or focusing on hard stuff? It's both, really. Let's put your question up on the screen. So look, your metabolism, the calories you burn is, if you think about this, let's say you even went to the gym or exercised hard or went for a run, 1 hour a day, you've got 23 hours of the day left. So the bulk of your metabolism is the other 23 hours. Let's take away 8 hours for sleeping. Most people aren't sleeping 8 hours, but let's say you were. That still leaves 15 hours of the day where you're going to use way more calories in that 15 hours than you would in 1 hour. So exercise is planned gym sessions, but NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, these are the things that you do when you go in the garden, when you walk the dog, when you play with the kids, when you do when you have sex. Your metabolism, that's the bulk of the calories you're going to burn. So absolutely, I tell all my clients to just be as active as possible, as well as do the gym sessions. Hopefully that's answered that. Oh, we've got Kirsty. Hi, Kirsty. And Lee, awesome. Sound is fine. Brilliant. Thank you for that. Kirsty, how are you? Not spoken to you for a while. Kirsty was an old client of mine, and she came on my retreat to Ibiza a couple of years ago now. How are you doing, Kirsty? I'm assuming you're on Facebook. Yes, you are on Facebook. I can see. How's it going? How's the last year been? The lockdown and COVID, what a nightmare it's been. But I hope you're well. Hope you and Anthony are well, kids. So, any more for any more? Any questions? Hopefully that's made sense. All of those things are important. Exercise, sleep, consistency. They all play a part in the fat loss puzzle. But ultimately, your fat loss is going to be determined by the amount of calories you consume. And anyone that says anything different, I'm afraid they're wrong. It really is as simple as that. Simple, and it's tricky. There's obviously some nuances to that. There's, as I said, all those different things that, play a part. Absolutely. But absolutely. Yeah, Jared, let me pop you up. Yeah, most people think that, in such incredible science, Gav, what you're doing over the 24 hours is even more important. It's the most important thing, and you could argue, and I've seen this before, you could argue that not going to the gym and not doing planned exercise sessions and just being as active as possible could be more effective for fat loss for some people. I'll tell you why. This is what can happen. Let's say someone trains really, really hard in the hour, like smashes out, I don't know, 10K run, let's for example, and they burn 500 calories. Again, I'm just making that figure up. If they're so tired from that session, for the next 23 hours, they might be very inactive, which means they might sit more at their desk. They might not walk for the bus. They might not play with the kids in the garden. So their energy consumption over the day might actually be reduced. Yeah, they burn more calories in the session, but over the 24 hours, they might burn less calories than if they didn't go to the gym and were just more active. I don't know, I've seen that happen. So don't underestimate walking as much as possible. One of the best calorie burners. Simply be as active as you possibly can. Hopefully that answered that. Sahar Plavani, how much time can I do in a day? Do you mean exercise? I'm not sure if do you mean exercise there. Good question. Shandon Jones says, just joined, but how do you feel about keto and lowering carbs? Look, keto is just one way of helping you get into a calorie deficit. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with carbohydrates. People, especially people that are fans of keto, because obviously keto is a reduction of carbs, keeping it very, very low, and increasing fats, predominantly fat and protein, which is not a bad thing. But every diet works by one mechanism only, and that's by being in a calorie deficit. So anyone that's doing keto, and even if they are in ketosis, and most people don't get into ketosis, not properly, but let's say they are, you still only burn body fat by being in a calorie deficit. So let's say you reduced all your carbs, you had no carbs at all, which is virtually impossible because everything's got even 1 or 2 grams. But let's say you're below 20 or 30 grams of carbs and you're in ketosis or close to it, and you're getting your calories predominantly from fat and protein, but the only other sources, or alcohol. You still have to be burning more than you're taking in. Doesn't matter the source. So just because you go into ketosis or you're doing the keto diet, you still have to follow the mechanism of burning body fat. So keto is just one way. I'm personally not a huge fan. I'll tell you why. There's nothing wrong with it. If you like keto, great. I'll tell you why I don't recommend it for most of my clients. Most people like carbs. Most people like to enjoy carbohydrates. Carbs are in everything. If you're going to go keto, you can't have a lot of the foods that we enjoy, alcohol, obviously sugar, even 2 bits of fruit will knock you out of ketosis. So my point is, it's no more effective than burning body fat by having carbs. So if you like carbs, why reduce them and go into ketosis? I always tell people, if you can't see yourself doing it for long term, why would you want to do it? Why would you want to do it? It's all about sustainability. The best way to lose body fat is a plan that you enjoy, that you like doing, and you can stick to it. So it's about long-term sustainability. And, I've done the low carb thing, and there's no doubt that it will help you burn body fat, but not because you reduce your carbs, because usually you reduce your calories. When people reduce carbs, their calorie consumption tends to go down. But that drop in calories could come from anything. Okay, here we go. Jared has says, does a 15-20-minute robust exercise session kickstart the other 23 hours? Doesn't really matter. Doesn't kickstart. You're going to burn, if it's a fairly high intensity session, you're going to burn more calories in that session. But when you stop, your metabolism just goes back to its normal sort of rate. You could argue that weight training, there's a thing called EPOC, which is exercise post-oxygen consumption. This is the process of, after a high-intensity workout like Tabata or even weight training to a certain extent, your metabolism is slightly raised for the next 24 to 48 hours. But that's been over-exaggerated. It's not this magical formula. Still, your fat loss and metabolism is largely going to be driven by the calories you put into that body. Okay? So absolutely, if you want to get a workout in, brilliant, but it's not really going to make any difference. If you didn't do anything for the rest of the 23 hours, you're not going to burn that many calories. All right, Vinay, hope I pronounced your name. What to eat before going to the gym? Nothing. It doesn't really make any difference. Obviously, you would probably not want to have too big a meal, within the hour. But if you're eating 90 minutes to a couple of hours before you go to the gym, it doesn't really matter, because your overall fuel for the day is going to determine your energy. So there's nothing specific that I would say, well, drink this or eat this to fuel your workout, unless you were doing something that was taking an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, like some type of endurance work. And then you would definitely want to have some carbohydrates, maybe in the form of liquid, to fuel you. But if you're doing a normal gym session, let's say you have your breakfast, your lunch, and you go to the gym after lunch, just your lunch and your breakfast and the food you've had over the last 24 hours is going to fuel that workout. So there's nothing specific that I would say, okay, drink this or eat this, and it's going to make you perform that much better. Your overall calories consumed over the day or the last day or that morning is going to just fuel what you do. So it really depends on the type of activity. So if it's endurance activity, absolutely, potentially, you might want to have a higher carbohydrate to fuel that. But a normal gym workout, it won't make any difference. Hello, Hayley. Hayley has popped up. Tend not to eat before gym, maybe an hour before. Yeah, really depends. I mean, I like to go to the gym first thing in the morning. I go to the gym at 5:30, so I'm probably not going to get breakfast at 5 o'clock or 4:30. So I go fasted, empty stomach. And then I eat my breakfast around about 9 a.m. I just like this, and it doesn't matter whether you eat before food or cardio or training or eat after. The whole opens up the whole debate of fasted cardio or fasted training, which burns more body fat. They're both exactly the same. Won't make any difference. All right. Cheers, Jared. Thanks for tuning in, mate. Christine. What's Christine saying? Christine. Hello, Gav. Wonderful. You're doing these live shows when you're able. I can listen, learn, and work at the same time. Thank you for your time. My pleasure. They're going to be every Thursday now at 5 p.m. The reason I changed them from Wednesday is I found out that Wednesday is not the most popular time, the most popular day on LinkedIn. The least people tune in. Hi, Smiler. I had some new teeth. Can you see? Thanks, Hayley. Thanks. All right. LinkedIn user. Why have you come up as LinkedIn user? Hey, Gav, a little warm up to our chat next week. Yeah, absolutely. Why you come up as LinkedIn user? Looking forward to it. You're a surprise guest. I'm not going to tell you who you are now. Tell everyone who you are. So, yes, 5 p.m. Yes, 5 p.m. BST every Thursday, not Wednesday. I found that Wednesday doesn't tend to be the best time. Yeah, and thanks for pointing out that I've had my teeth done, Hayley. There we are. The veneers. You may have seen my video. All right, so if anyone's joining, let me know. Drop a question into the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Been talking around the most important thing for fat loss, about my poll with a day to go. All right, here we go. Annette has asked, just quickly, please, best motivation, vanity or health? Ooh, it really depends, doesn't it? I guess the question is where you are in your life. And I'll use myself as an example. So in my 20s, the best motivation for me was absolutely staying in shape. I was interested in building muscle, having a six-pack. In your early 20s, you don't care about your health. I wanted to be healthy in the moment, but there was no concern about long-term health in my 20s. And I would have thought that's probably the same for most people. I'm 47 now, and things are falling apart. I've had surgery on my neck. I've got a bad hip and back. I've had surgery on my knees. Now, 3 years away from 50, halfway through my life. Obviously, I want to get to 100. The concern's long-term health. I don't give a shit about having a six-pack. I still like a six-pack, and I could get one if I wanted, but my concern is not there. My driving force in my 20s was to get in shape. I was working in a different career. I was still doing fitness on the side, but I was dancing around and gallivanting around Europe, taking my clothes off for a living. So look, my concern was having a six-pack. I used to get up and go to the gym, go to the sunbed, eat well. It was a driving factor. Now, health is way more important. I would like to want to sleep better than I am currently at the moment, and to wake up without feeling like I'm 47. That is my goal, feeling fit and healthy. And obviously, when you have kids, your mortality becomes not a question, but a concern. So hopefully that has answered that question, Christine. All right, Annette, sorry. So vanity or health could be both. Really depends on the time of the year, time of your life, I guess. Shandin, okay. She has asked one of the questions, fasting. How do you feel about that? Big fan. Fasting's great. I'm a big fan of fasting. A lot of great benefits. 1, discipline. 2, gives your digestion a break. 3, can definitely help with fat loss, because if you're not eating, enables you to stay in that calorie deficit. There's nothing magical again about fasting. But please understand this. Look, fasting is just a tool. There's some health benefits from fasting, but it won't make you burn body fat any more than someone that doesn't fast unless you're in a calorie deficit. I know people in Ramadan that get fat because in that small window of eating, let's say it's from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m., or I'm not sure of the hours, so don't correct me on that. I know that you can only eat between sundown and sunrise. If you eat 3,000 calories, and that's more than you're burning, you're going to get fat. Doesn't matter how long. If you haven't eaten for 20 hours and you still stuff your face in 4 hours, you're going to get fat. But if you control your calories and you're in a calorie deficit, then it could be a great way to help you burn body fat. So I'm a big fan of fasting. I like to do it for discipline and to help with digestion. It's a great way. Look, digestion is one of the most expensive processes in the body. So to not put food into our body, it gives your body a chance to rest and recover. And that's a good thing every now and then. All right. So Christine said, perhaps you can post a link to a recorded video for some specific time. Yes, I'll do that. Oh, the OC. Oh, I love the OC. I used to love that program, but I love Orange County. I'm watching, don't tell anyone, the Housewives of the OC. It's my guilty pleasure. But whereabouts in OC are you? I've been to Newport. I've been to Huntingdon. I love it down there. I love it. My favorite part. So let me know where you are, Christine. I'll post a video for sure. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, what's Hayley saying? Hayley, motivation for me is my goal, a few pounds to achieve. Yes, fancy is one reason, but health trumps. My fun goal is to be light enough to sit while over Niagara Falls. Awesome. Now, I'll let everyone know Hayley is currently a client of mine, and she's 41 pounds down. Well done, Hayley. It's brilliant. We know we've got more work to do, so yeah, absolutely. motivation, the goal. So it's, for you, as you said, it's obviously vanity to a certain extent. You've got weight to lose, but long-term health as well. The two, they come hand in hand, don't they? They're both, for most people. But I really think, if someone has just got 20, 30 pounds to lose and they're in their 20s, maybe getting a six-pack is more a driving factor. In someone's in their 40s or 50s, with kids and other responsibilities and not involved in fitness, having a six-pack is probably not the goal, but it could be. I know for me, long-term health is definitely the goal now, and waking up without any aches and pains. All right, Vinay, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly there. Vinay has said, what is the protein that we should use? All right, do you mean protein powder, or do you mean protein from whole food sources? Look, the best protein is not from protein powder. It's a convenient way of getting extra protein, but the best protein would be animal sources: beef, chicken, turkey, eggs, fish. If you're not a vegetarian, that's obviously the way to go. If you're a vegetarian or vegan, then you need to look into some vegan protein powders, or be really good at combining things like lentils and seeds and pulses and nuts. Tricky, but not impossible. Hopefully that's answered that question. All right. Jared. So look, Jared, what's Jared saying? Moss 54 now, brother. Completely relate with falling apart. Just want to be healthy and feel good, much more than a six-pack. I'm with you. You know what? What's funny is I never thought that things would change. Well, I don't even know. I don't know that I even was conscious of having that thought processes in my 20s. It's not a case I never thought. But you know what? I really thought I was invincible. And when I got to 40, things just started getting hard. Like a couple of surgeries, niggling injuries. I've always got something that's niggling. And it's been a long time since I felt, like I did in my 20s. As we all age, we lose a bit of muscle. The hormones get out of whack for a guy. From a male perspective, I'm not going to say I'm an expert in female health, I'm not, but from a male perspective, for every 10 years that we age, we lose quite a lot of testosterone, and it's downhill rapidly from 30, 40, 50. So we've got to be maximizing that to feel good. So yeah, we lose a bit of muscle. It's get easier to put fat on. That's not to say you can't be in amazing shape at 40, 50 and 60. You absolutely can, but it probably gets harder for most people. All right. Favorite fasting window? Well, my personal fasting window when I do it, and I don't do that often, is 16:8. So eat dinner, like say 8 p.m. and then 16 hours from then takes you to midday. So between 12 and 8 p.m. That's typical intermittent fasting. 16:8 is the popular one. Sometimes I used to do a 24-hour fast from Sunday evening to Monday evening. In fact, I might start doing that as the summer comes. That's a really good way to start the week strong and get a nice calorie deficit. That was that question there. Favorite fasting window. So thanks for that, Shandin. Hope that made sense. Joshua Miller, how often do you shave? I'll send you a private message with and thanks for those naked photos that you sent to me, Josh. Appreciate them. It's not my bag, but I was very happy that you sent them through. I'm glad that you look at me in that way. But I'll send them my Dropbox next time, because those files are so huge, it's clogging up my inbox. How often do I shave? Not often enough. Anyway, hope you're well, mate. All right, Lee. I'm 50 in a few weeks' time. I used to do karate and then running, so I'm in quite good shape. Luckily, I'm a father too, so constantly running around after boys. So apart from healthy eating, what other exercise would you advise as knees to shot to bits? Right, as knees to shot after running and karate. Karate, can you still do that with the knees? Are you doing any resistance training, Lee? I mean, karate is great. It's a mixture of resistance to a certain extent, but it's primarily cardio. But I would absolutely get some type of resistance training in there. Upper body and legs if you can. If your knees aren't too bad, you could be doing some squats and lunges. There's loads of other stuff, even if your knees aren't as strong as they could be. But absolutely, in terms of getting to 50, in terms of maximizing health, building strength, maximizing muscle, testosterone, feeling good, you absolutely need to lift heavy shit off the floor. Heavy weights. That would be my recommendation, my man. Oh, Annette has said, prove to us you were a dancer. Show us a move. Annette, again, it's for the inbox, for the private inbox. I can't, it's like I could show you, but I'd have to kill you. Just channel Magic Mike. Just think Magic Mike, and we'll be close to the type of skills I used to rock out on the stage. Hayley's laughing. Any more questions for any more? Thanks for that, Annette. No worries, Lee. You're welcome, mate. Drop me a message if you want to know a bit more about what I'd recommend. But absolutely, I would get some type of resistance training going in there for sure. In terms of, overall health for a man, as you get into 50, the resistance training is crucial for women as well. But for men, if you want to keep lead in a pencil, build muscle, burn body fat, the number one way is absolutely lifting heavy stuff off the floor, resistance training, and for women as well. So yeah, weight training would be the way forward. Any more for any more? Any more questions? If you're just joining, let us know where you're coming in from. The original question or the topic I talked about was, what's the most important thing for fat loss? And I did a poll 6 days ago, if you're catching this now. Poll 6 days ago, it actually finishes in about 18 hours. I said, what was the most important thing for fat loss? What do you think is the most important thing for fat loss? And the four choices were exercise, number one, food and nutrition, sleep, and consistency. And the answer is absolutely things you put in your mouth, 100%. Like you could sleep badly, not exercise, lay on the sofa all day long, and be as inconsistent with everything. But if you burn more than you take in, you're going to lose weight. Now, of course, we want to have all those other factors, sleeping well, exercising, taking care of ourselves with exercise. They all play a massive part in the whole picture. But I guess it was a loaded question. All right, Vinay is back. Oh, Vinay. Girls love boys with 6 apps. I mean, do you mean 6-pack? Tell me how to make a 6-pack. I guess you're talking about 6-pack. Girls love boys with 6-pack. Boys love boys with 6-pack. Okay, here's the quickest way to get a 6-pack. You need to lift heavy weights, so resistance training, and you need to be in a calorie deficit. You could work on your core, but it's not absolutely essential because, believe it or not, we've all got a 6-pack. If we were to strip all our body fat away, the way the abdominal muscles are shaped, we've got a 6-pack. Now, the reason you can't see the 6-pack is because there's body fat obscuring that. So if you get lean enough, you'll have a 6-pack. I was very fortunate. Not at the moment. I'm not going to show you. Fortunately, when I was lean 15, 20 years ago, like properly lean, I'd never used to work my abs at all. But I was renowned in or among my colleagues and friends. I had a good 6-pack, but naturally my abs were quite well developed, but I never physically worked my abdominals. If you're doing deadlifts or squats or heavy weight training, you tend to work your core. So your core could become developed. And as I was genetically blessed in that way, for want of a better phrase, I wasn't genetically blessed in other areas, believe it or not. I'm not talking about that, by the way. I'm talking about my body, the rest of my body. Abs were very easy for me to get when I was lean. So the best way to do is control your diet, which means you've got to be in a calorie deficit, consistency, and work towards it. It's not going to happen. And it really depends on the starting point, how much body fat you've got. If you've got quite a lot of body fat, it's going to take 3 months, 6 months, a year. Could take longer. Really depends. But increase your protein, control your calories, be in a calorie deficit, and lift heavy weights. All right. Saha, you can drop me a message. Send me a message, Saha. We'll have a chat. Kirsty. Hi, Kirsty. Back again. Any advice in getting back to training after injury to wrists other than slowly but surely? I think there's your answer. What have you done to your wrist? What have you done to your wrist? Is it ligaments or you've broken it? I guess the answer is, one, I need to know what the injury is, but slowly, if it hurts, I guess that's a good rule of thumb, don't do it. So it really depends. So it's a bit more detail and I can probably answer that. But I think slowly but surely, and obviously if you're working with an osteo or physio, maybe you're working with Steve McKind, he'll probably give you the best advice. But absolutely right, the weight training would help to strengthen that. So it could aid recovery. But again, devil's in the dose. Broke it. Oh, God. How do you break it? Can you lift weights on it now, Kirsty? What can you do? Steve has said magnificent. Well, I'm magnificent. The live is magnificent. My microphone is magnificent. My backdrop is magnificent. Tell me what's magnificent, Steve. Tell me. Come on, Steve. Tell me. Any more for any more? How do you break your wrist, Kirsty? All right, I'm going to stay on another 4 minutes. That will take me to a 45-minute live. If anyone's got any more questions, please jump in now. If you're just joining the live, we're talking about fat loss and the most important things for fat loss: exercise, nutrition, consistency, and sleep. Those 4 things. I talked about a poll on LinkedIn I put on 6 days ago. Nearly 5,000 people voted on the poll, and 45% of the people said that nutrition and diet was the most important thing, and they're absolutely correct. Your fat loss will be determined by what you put in your mouth. All the rest of it is incidental. It's important, but when it comes down to it, what you shove in your gob is going to be the most important thing when it comes to your fat loss. Okay, 2 minutes more and we're going to wrap it. If not, and hopefully the sound is okay. I've got a new microphone here. Good. Any more questions from anyone? I could tell a joke if you want. Anyone wants to know a joke? I'll tell you my favorite joke, everyone. It's not funny. I'm not very good at jokes and I don't remember them. I've got 2 jokes actually. One I can probably say on this LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live. One I can't because it's a bit rude. I'll tell you the one that I can say. Why did the Mexican push his wife off the cliff? Anyone know the answer to that? Why did the Mexican push his wife off the cliff? Tequila. That's as good as I can get. That's my that's the one that I can say without offending anyone. Oh, Lee, I've just told me my joke. Why did the Mexican push his wife off the cliff? Tequila. That's my joke. I can't repeat the one. I'd like to. It's funny, but it's a bit rude. Probably lose a load of followers and get banned from the internet. Anyway. Oh, Rob has popped on. Fasted cardio. Good subject. All right, fasted cardio. For those that don't know, fasted cardio is where usually you go and do your cardio before you eat any food, first thing in the morning. It could be any other time, but it's usually first thing in the morning. So you have your dinner, go to bed, wake up in a fasted state, go to the gym, go for a run, swim, cardio, whatever. Fasted cardio. I'm assuming, is it more effective than fed cardio? The reality is it doesn't make a blind bit of difference. Rob, it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. I'll tell you what happens. Now, I'll be honest. 15, 20 years ago, we all thought fasted cardio was the way. And here's the thing, I still do it because I like doing fasted cardio and it makes me feel like I'm burning more body fat. But the reality is, truth is, the studies show it doesn't make any difference. When you go fasted cardio, it's true that you'll you'll burn more body fat in the session. But largely your body fat loss will be determined by the calories you eat over the period of day, over the whole day. Now, let's say you ate your breakfast and had carbohydrates in that breakfast, you would burn predominantly those carbohydrates or the food that you've got as fuel and burn less fat. But your net balance of fat loss over the day will be determined by your total calories. So it doesn't make any difference. If you like to go in the morning before you go to work and eat your breakfast, awesome, do it. If you like to have breakfast and then lunch and then go an hour after lunch, it won't make any difference. It honestly will not make any difference. So look, a lot of the a lot of the bodybuilders nowadays, guys in amazing shape, still swear by fasted cardio. And you know what? If it makes them think they're burning more body fat, great. It doesn't make any difference. Like, if they're going to stick to it and be more diligent with it and do it more often and feel like they're getting better results, that itself is going to help them burn body fat because they're sticking to the plan and being more consistent. But in terms of actual fasted cardio or non-fasted, it won't make any difference. Annette has said, "Oh, great talk, Gav. See you next week. Don't bother telling another joke." I won't. I told you. I'm more funny in my videos than I am live. Well, I like to think I am. All right, Vinay. Nowadays, boys make six-packs at a very young age. Tell us how in age we should make good six-pack. Vinay, the question is the same. The answer is the same. The only way to get a six-pack is by being in calorie deficit to enable your abdominal muscles to be seen. There's nothing fancy about getting a six-pack. Whether young, old, it's all the same. And ideally, you want to lift weights. I take you after a six-pack. Right, I'm going to leave it here as there's no one else on. Guys, thanks a lot if you're tuning into this. I appreciate you coming on. Thanks for the questions. This live will be every Thursday, 5 p.m. BST, which is British summertime, sorry. 5 p.m. every Thursday going forward. I'll just quickly see if there's anyone else in the chat. Let's have a look. Any more questions I've missed? No. All right, guys, I'm signing off. I will see you next time.
See, I like to be taken for dinner and drinks first before you slip your hands in swanika. Call me old-fashioned. I'm kind of a big deal.